Welcome back to Roll for Puppet, the series where we let these dice design our next creature. And today we have episode 14 of season 4. Thank you everyone for your comments on last week's chaotic episode. Let's hope for a calmer result from the dice today. Let's get started by rolling for our head shape, and we have a 4, which is going to be for the giant head shape. I don't think that's been shown in season 4 so far, but now we need to roll for our personality with the chaos dice, and we have, for the first time, a fairy tale creature. Finally, we landed on fairy tale, so let's get started by, of course, cutting out our reticulated foam pattern. I'm already feeling calmer vibes from this week's selections so far. Let's hope it continues. We're going to cut that out on the wise and powerful and holy bandsaw, all hail the bandsaw. And then we're going to glue it all together with our contact adhesive for our delicious but forbidden honey sandwich. And then once all of that glue is dry to the touch, we're going to press it together to form the shape. And the giant head shape is just so fun. It's definitely one of my favourites. I feel like it can be so many different things. We've used it as a human head shape before. We've used it as a creature from the lore from my book. We've used it as just so many different things. And it's got a really nice big underbite. And so for today, with this really fun kind of versatile creature head shape, we decided that we would go down a fairy tale mystical dragon route. You'll see more as we go through it, but here is our foam selection, and now of course we need to roll for our colours. First of all, for the amount of colours, and we have, those two colours are 3 and a 7, and that is going to be for green and blue. So as the base of this puppet, we definitely want to lean into the green. That's going to help with the dragony, reptile-y kind of colour. But before we lay any fabric down, we wanted to add some EVA foam sculpted definition. So this is something we used to do with mythical puppets in season 2, and anytime we had a dragon creature, then it would have this like ribbed stomach, and it would have some carved foam detailing on its head as well. Just a nice extra dimension and texture. So we're going to carve some definition into the strips of EVA, and then with a heat gun we're going to seal them and kind of smooth down the texture. And then we're also going to curve the foam so that it fits the curvature of the puppet's belly, so it's not just flat on the back, and it will sit much nicer when we add it to the reticulated foam of the body. So we're just marking out the positioning for that, and then we're going to cover it in this dark midnight blue fleece, which I feel like is going to go really nicely with the green, and then we're just going to attach that into the hole that we created in the puppet's belly, and then do the same thing with the texture on the top of the head. So just a few nice pops of blue sticking out from the mainly green skin of this dragon puppet. So I'm going to get started by cutting out that green fabric, the fleece. So that's going to be on the body of the puppet, the arms, the hands, and most of the head. Once all of that's cut out, of course, we're going to sew it all together on the sewing machine. But then we're going to glue and pin and trim the fabric on the puppet's face where it needs to be hand sewn. So for this puppet, at this point, this colour scheme and personality combination, we're thinking like guarding a fairy tale kingdom, like outside of a castle, that sort of character. Which is why we've gone for the extra definition and the extra detailing on the puppet's body. We wanted them to look really detailed as a fairy tale dragon. So we're just starting to add those things together. We're going to sew together the belly and the foam carving just to make sure that it all blends and looks one piece. And then I'm going to hand sew the seams on the puppet's face. And I don't even want to think about how many puppets' faces you've watched me sew over the years, especially if you've been here since like season 1. Plus all of the build your own puppets, like it has been several hundred just faces. So anyway, I'm just making sure that the seams on the head definition are blended nicely with the green fleece as well. Then we're going to doll joint the arms onto the puppet's body. We're going to have a happy dance and a full colourful reveal. So here is our fairy tale dragon guard so far, and now we need to roll for our eyes. So we have 2 for dot eyes. Nice and simple, definitely nothing crazy. I feel like we could have used a little bit more chaos and whimsy with this personality choice, but maybe the dice are trying to make up for last week's abundance of chaos and whimsy. So I'm just finding the right positioning and adding those big, bold dot eyes in. We have a blue fleecy puppet tongue because every puppet needs a tongue, and now we're going to roll for our features. So we have 8, 10, 12 and 13, which is going to be nose, wings, spots and eye bags. Is that the first eye bags we've had in season 4? We need someone to have like a tally. In season 1 of Roll for Puppet, we did have someone with a spreadsheet, and they would let us know like how many of each thing that we'd rolled. That is such amazing dedication. So we wanted to bring the blue in a couple different colours for the eye bags and the spots. So we have these nice bold eye bags in the same colour as the tongue, and then we have these dark blue spots that I'm going to hand sew in the same colour as the ribbed detailing. Just going to hand sew them and blend them nicely, and then for the nose, instead of adding a nose on, we're going to go with nostrils. I feel like that would work better with the dragon personality, so we're just going to mark them out, cut them in, we're going to glue them in place and then add some shading so they're nice, dark, defined, flared dragon nostrils. And then for the final feature, which of course is wings, we decided to go for something a little bit different than kind of the standard dress-up wings or the fleece wings. So we actually have these, I'm not sure what material they are, it just said faux feathers when I purchased them. I don't know if it's silk or plastic, I'm not quite sure. But we have these really fun fake black shiny feathers, and we're just going to cut them into a really small pair, like comically small pair of wings, for the fact that this is the giant head shape. So we didn't want the wings to be big, we wanted them to be like they're still growing in. And then for a really fun prop as an extra, we decided to give them a mythical map of the kingdom that they are meant to be protecting. Just a really fun mythical prop, and they're stood at the gates, they're not letting anyone in, they're fire breathing, look at their abs, nobody is crossing the threshold of this castle, and this is the finished puppet. So I feel like the dice gave us a slightly easier time this week. They maybe felt bad for us after what we went through last week with the alien puppet, but the colours on this one are really fun, the features are really fun. I loved the eye bags and the nostrils and the extra foam definition that we got to carve into the puppet. Just a really fun fairy tale dragon. So thank you so much for watching. As always, please leave your name suggestions and detailed backstories down in the comments. I can't wait to read them. I really hope you enjoyed this week's episode, and we will see you next week for episode 15. Can you believe it? It's going to be special, you don't want to miss it, and if you would like to support our content, you can head over to our community on Patreon. And for less than the price of a coffee per month, you get these episodes early and ad-free, plus lots of other perks. We will see you very soon.